My name is Leila Thatcher, a tour guide at the Library of Lost Things. This is The Doorstep Project, episode 15, A Cowboy. My great-grandpa's name was Clyde Higginson. He was born in Idaho in 1917 and died in December 2006 in Utah. I was too young to know him or remember anything about him, but he wrote down many of his stories, and my dad gave me a few of them. I thought I would read 2 of them to you today. Something to know about my great-grandpa. He was a cowboy. He talked like a cowboy. He wrote like a cowboy. He lived like a cowboy. These stories are all from a cowboy's perspective. The words might be a little different than you would say them. This first story, it's called A Pig Story at Weedy Acres. When my oldest daughter, Sharon Ann, was 10 years old, we had a sow pig with little ones. When my wife, Thelma, kicked a little pig that was slow getting into the pen and it squealed, that mother pig went plumb berserk and was trying to chew on any human being that she could see. Thelma barely made it to the chicken coop of white leghorns and slammed the door shut. The irate sow kept hitting the door with her nose, screaming like a wounded mallard. Then she started circling that chicken coop and trying to find a way in. As she made the second circle and was on the back side, I told Sharon to run to the house and get all the kids in and keep them there. So Sharon flew to her task and all the kids got in and slammed the door shut. But the old mad sow saw that happening and headed to the back of the house. Just then the cleaner's truck pulled up with our clothes. I hollered, "There's a mad sow coming on your side, better get in your truck." He hollered, "Oh, I know all about pigs. I was raised with pigs." Well, when he saw this irate porker, he quickly changed his plan and ran and jumped on his truck, and the sow almost got him. He hollered, "I'll bring your clothes tomorrow." Next day, that sow was hauled to the butcher's. This second story is called Faint Right, Dive Left. My great-grandpa served in the Air Force during World War II, and he has a lot of stories from that time. But this one displays my great-grandpa in a very particular light. He was a religious man. He believed in God all the way to the day he died. I feel this story shows who my great-grandpa was. The year 1945 found me in the Army Air Force as a first pilot of a B-29 with a crew of 10 other men for me to direct and hope to bring all back home alive. On my 28th birthday, we landed in Hawaii and heard that President Roosevelt had passed away. I found my brother Cyril and spent the day with him and my crew at Waikiki Beach, taking pictures and trying the surfboard. At least the pictures were good. We then went on to Saipan, where the powers to be gave our airplane to another crew who had to ditch theirs. So we unhappily rode a transport to Guam and were assigned to the 330th Bomb Group, 458th Bomb Squadron of the 20th Air Force, stationed at Northfield. We flew several missions to Japan, and then a new plane, K-41, was assigned to us. It was a very good one, built in Boeing and Seattle, Washington. We had been having very good luck on our first 10 missions, then things scary began happening. I'll tell you about them in another writing. When I think back to all the experiences, the most harrowing one had to be the kamikaze one while flying over Wakayama in the inland sea of southern Japan. To survive this one, we know we were highly favored by our Heavenly Father. When reaching our barracks area in Guam, the first thing I did was find a secluded spot to ask him to please give me the wisdom, knowledge, and protection to keep our crew safe and get them back to their respective families when their duty was done. After my prayer, I had a peaceful feeling of assurance. A prayer before takeoff was standard procedure of our beloved chaplain. The fates of 10 good men on a feller that only wanted to be a fighter pilot was overwhelming. No one could have surpassed my desire to again behold the face of my beloved Thelma and my daughters, Sharon Ann and Linda Joy, ages 2 and 1, whom I had bid a teary goodbye at Fort Kearney, Nebraska. Mother, my brother Elmo, and his daughter Diane had also come to see us off. After we had finished our prayer, we were ready to take off. As we took off for a target to be bombed in squadron formation near Wakayama, the engines purred like a cat eating cream. But just 1/2 hour from rendezvous, where we formed in squadron formation for the bomb run, our left inboard engine blew a cylinder and had to be feathered immediately. Our second target was Wakayama, just off to our right. By using a little more gas and climbing up to 15,000 feet, we figured we'd be safe from any anti-aircraft flak and still be able to get to Iwo Jima for repairs. With these 1,000-pound bombs, we could do a lot of damage to big warehouses and railroad yards we could see on the coast. We played like we were a sleeper plane, one who took pictures only. We did not open our bomb bay doors and even let the propeller on our bad engine windmill make them believe all was well with us. Art Talbot, the bombardier from New Jersey, shouted, "Bomb bay doors coming open!" He lined up on those juicy-looking targets below with his accurate Norden bomb sight. So far, not one shot had been fired at us. "How come?" I asked Dick Farr, my co-pilot. Dick answered, "Dunno. Seems weird and no ack-ack." Then Art yelled, "Bombs away! They're in a string and they'll rip 'em." Moments later, Houghton, the upper gunner, screams, "Wow, look at all those railroad cars flying end over end." "I'll keep a beady eye out for those fighters," warned Dick. Just then we heard a big, extra special boom and a huge column of smoke-encrusted debris shot up to almost our altitude, the concussion rocking our plane. "You must have hit the jackpot," burst out Johnson, our trusty tail gunner from Jacksonville, Florida. "Bet it was an ammunition jump. Let's get out of here and back to Iwo Jima. We can't get back home on 3 engines. Let's make good use of that little island," referring to Iwo Jima, which was taken at great cost by American servicemen. We would have been down in Davy Jones' locker at least 5 times if we didn't have it secured. God bless him. "Give us a heading to Iwo, Richard," hollers into the microphone to our navigator, Richard Schaefer from Aberdeen, South Dakota. Before we could turn, Dick Farr bellows, "Fighter, 12 o'clock level." A mere speck with wings appeared out from that direction. At a closing speed of over 600 miles per hour, there was no time left for any plan. Into my mind flashed the instructions: feint right, dive left. I cranked old cue ball, Art Talbot named her that, into a slight bank to the right. The fighter banked to head us off. "Kamikaze," I shouts. "Get ready for evasive action." Then I stand old cue ball on her nose while banking left. I then pulled back on the control yoke very hard. As we shot into a downward spiral to the left, the big rising sun that looked like a meatball on the wing of that fighter flashed by our nose. "Missed us by a whole 10 feet, observed the bombardier as we pulled slowly out of the downward spiral. "He just drove into the ground," added Johnson. I don't remember meeting my great-grandpa. I asked my dad what were some words I could say about him, and he said, "You could say he was the eternal optimist, who always had a wry grin and could tie any knot with a dainty thumb and forefinger, and a mischievous twinkle in his eye." My great-grandpa was a hard worker. He fought for his country and for his family, and for the men he protected. He was a cowboy through and through. He talked like a cowboy. He wrote like a cowboy. He worked like a cowboy. He lived like a cowboy. He had great faith and a strong testimony in God. These 2 stories show how willing he was to laugh, to work, and to fight. I see that in my grandma, his daughter. I see that in my dad, his grandson. And I hope he sees that in me. Thank you for listening to The Doorstep Project. This audio drama was created and produced by Family Friendly Podcasts. If you enjoyed the podcast, leave a rating and review on your podcast app of choice or share it with a friend. Leilani and the project will be back next week. Until then, write every day. One day your story could be in a museum. The Doorstep Project is produced by Family Friendly Podcasts. It was written, edited, and performed by AJ Barton. Sound effects for this podcast are provided by Zapsplat. Music used in this podcast includes Reawakening by Kevin McLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 license. You can learn more at his website, incompetech.com, or at creativecommons.org. Both music and sound effects have been changed and edited by AJ Barton. Links for websites, information, and contact can be found in the description of the episode. Would you like to submit your story or art to the Doorstep Project? You can find information for story submission at familyfriendlypodcast.com/The Doorstep Project. Information on CC by 4.0 licenses can be found at creativecommons.org.